Hello, hello. Hi, everybody. And I hope this layout is good. I can switch back if you want to, April.
I like this.
Okay, because I just switched it over when, the countdown was on, because why not? But yeah, thank you so much for joining us live. And thank you so much if you're watching the replay. We really do appreciate you being here. And, if you want to be part of the conversation, just leave a comment if you're not in the live chat. But I have April from Tarot and Witchery today, and her channel is going to be linked down in the description. So if you haven't, then go ahead and subscribe, check out her videos because she posts awesome videos. I really like her summer decks video because it was shot in the garden, and it was just so it set such a nice mood. So I wanted to have her. So a round of applause.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
First live for April, so let's encourage her to do more, and maybe on her channel. So okay, so let's see. We had I forgot. I'm so sorry, I forgot your name. Moonlight Arcana. I'm a bad Gerald copy currently. I don't have my notes with me with the names. I need to start making a note again, because that's a very useful thing to do, to write down people's names, because my memory is my memory. So for example, we have Sarah here. Long time no see. So thank you for being here. And then we have Maria. We were talking about you.
Were your ears burning? Were your ears burning, Maria? We were talking about you.
All nice things, obviously. And we have Debbie as well. Thank you so much for being here. So I know. I like, her videos are gold standard. Love the quality. So happy she started. Awesome. And yeah, I think, I didn't know that we're, Gerald has a live stream as well right now. So,
And so does Levi and Martin.
yeah, we're overlapping, but that's why replay is a good thing. You can go into other people's channels and that's watching. So they are ringing. The ears are ringing.
Yes.
We also have Alison Sisson. Hi, I haven't seen you around. So yeah, even though the title might be very dark and war, but I don't think we're gonna have a very depressed conversation about the topic. Just a disclaimer: it's really really hot here right now, even though it's almost 8. I mean, it's 8 p.m. So if my brain just melts over and I forget words, you know why. So Yes. I will be on Maria's channel on the 5th, right? On the 5th of July. I think so. Yeah. I mean, I hope it's the 5th because that's how I remember. So if it's not, then I need to recheck my calendar. But yeah, so the title was, The Dark Side of Tarot. And I just want to throw that a second. So I remembered wrongly. Okay. There was a topic about the fives or something. There was a 5 mentioned there. So
Yeah. Oh, so we'll be on that one together too.
that's what I want to say. That okay, then we're gonna be on the same live stream. Okay. Good thing Maria is here and told me, because I would have completely missed the whole thing. So oops. But yeah, so we're gonna be on Maria's channel on the 2nd. So please like and subscribe her channel as well, because that's gonna be fun, and not because I forgot it. That's separate from the issue. So I'm so sorry. Like I said, it's really really hot, but I think it's hot in Germany as well. So yeah, I'm gonna ask you, because it's already 5 minutes in and only I'm the one talking. What do you think when you hear the dark side of tarot?
So, for me, it's so interesting. When I thought about this whole dark side thing, to me, there's several different ways that the tarot can be dark. There's dark cards that we have, or cards that feel dark. But the shadow aspect, how tarot brings us into contact with our shadow selves. But there's also other dark sides of tarot, like being addicted to it, or having, a bad spending habits, or, there's just so many things that can make tarot dark. But to me, all the cards are illuminating ourselves, whether we're standing in the shadow or in the light, you know, wherever that is. So it is kind of a misnomer, the dark side of tarot. How
Yeah, we
about
need the
you?
Darth Vader
Yeah.
to kind of. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking the same. I think the dark side. I wasn't even maybe not thinking about the shadow work because that's a very much needed thing. But I was thinking about, how personal responsibility plays into the dark side because, there's a conversation about who's responsible for what if they post something online. And, all you can do is, if you're creating content, is to give out the disclaimer that, this is just my opinion. It's a deck that I bought for myself. But even if it sounds mean or something like that, but I think it's the viewer's responsibility if they consume the content or not. So I personally don't take responsibility for anyone's spending habits because I'm not them. They are not me. If I watch a collection video and I buy a deck because of that, it's not the person's fault. I was the one buying the deck. It's my responsibility to know if I can afford it, if I cannot, because there's a lot of content creators who are feeling responsible and kind of ashamed for showing decks they buy because they think that other people think that they are showing off, which is some people think, but I
But
never
that
felt
I
that.
always feel like that's a reflection of your own triggers. Like if you're triggered by
Kind
someone
of.
else, then you need to look at your own ego and how you feel threatened by someone
Yeah.
else just being themselves. Because really, I mean, I'm just showing you a deck. I'm not holding a gun to your head, or I'm not, to make you buy it, or I'm not somehow, or I guess I wouldn't be offended by someone showing me all their decks. I mean,
Yeah, I never felt that, but I understand that it can be triggering for people. But the personal responsibility comes in that that this is a you can realize that quite quickly. I think that, hey, I watch collection videos and then I buy decks that I shouldn't. Then the logical step is not telling the other person not to show their collection. It's you not watching their content. So
Mhm.
I'm kind of on the side of that conversation. I know other people have other opinions. Everyone is entitled to theirs. I'm not saying that mine is the right one. Just it's just something how I feel. And Marie says, I love the psychological use of tarot. Yes, to discover myself, my shadow work, absolutely. And on that note, like shadow work, I have 3 decks, that I want to show as just what can be part of this dark side conversation. But sometimes the dark side can be that a lot of people says that, hey, you have to do this intense shadow work, because if you're not using tarot for that, then you're not using tarot rightly. But at least that's some channels that I watch that, or I notice that. And I kind of feel like that can be a dark side where we're maybe not consciously, but we're pressuring people into doing trauma work that they are not ready to do, because there's the conversation about the toxic positive decks. If your deck is only lovely, which I think is bullshit, I mean, sorry, but I think every deck has the power to call you out. But
It's interesting you say. I think that
yeah,
the older I get, the more I enjoy allowing people to have their own journey.
yeah,
I think it's important to kind of honor where people are at. I can tell you this as a professional tarot reader: don't get a reading from me if you don't want it straight, because I'm that type of person, and that's how I read. And so, uh, but I think that we gravitate towards readers that are right for us and where we're at. And I think that each
yeah,
one of us can take our own steps with tarot in our own way. Maybe you start out with some of the lighter decks, and
yeah,
then you move into some of the darker imagery, which I feel like is very powerful, by looking at decks that portray cards in a really different fashion. Like I'll just hold this up for instance. Can we see this here?
Wait,
Sorry. This is the
let me
Hush. Can you see
let me
it?
make you a big one. Okay.
Okay. So here we have the Hush Tarot and then the good old Rider-Waite Magician. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
it's a really kind of a dark image. Like this is a newer deck for me.
I love
It's
that.
it's a little bit disturbing to me, but exploring things that disturb me. I'm in a place where I can do that, obviously, or I wouldn't be doing it. But I feel like every artist brings something new to the table that allows us to look at ourselves differently. And I want, I'm at the point where I'm familiar and comfortable enough with the cards that I want to be provoked by the
Mm.
images in a new way. So, why some people think this is dark, I
Yeah,
think this is just another side of the same coin, so.
yeah, that's what I wanted to say. That one of my example deck is the Deviant Moon, and a lot of people said that this says that this is a deck for. Oh, look at that! Isn't that just amazing? That this is for shadow work. This is for intense, really heavy topics. But for me, this deck that I use this for money related questions, because for me it kind of gives me that steampunky merchant city in Venice, in the Renaissance. I kind of get that feeling. So everyone is hustling, everyone is working for money, and they all want the 3D things. So for me, it's not a shadowy deck in that sense. It's just about the everyday life aspect. So I think that's also an interesting conversation. Which deck do you consider a dark deck? Because for me, where my shadow lives is in the happy,
Mhm.
like bubbly decks, because
Yeah,
that's where my shadow is.
for sure. This is definitely, this is just the oracle side of it, but this is the Playful
Oh,
Heart Tarot.
oh
And
yeah.
this, and so for me, this this really brings out my shadow. This
Mm,
really brings out the things that I need to look at. But this is not what people would consider a dark
yeah.
deck at all. So
Just the chat jumped. So
hi, Candy.
yeah, and I
Hi,
see Deanne as
Sylvain.
well. I see the dark side of tarot as working with dead archetypes or associated with using tarot to communicate what they call dark deities. Yeah, that's a completely valid approach as well. Happens in writing too. Authors editing what bad guys do to not give bad people ideas. Yes, and I think that's also where some books can fall short. Like you don't want to talk about how to get away with murder in a book, because then, but those people will seek out those information anyway. But if you don't do it, then your story is not going to be complete. So, but yeah, at the end, I'm just gonna say hi to a few people and see who's here. Hi, Candy. Thank you so. How are you, by the way? Because Candy has
Yeah.
the Missy, how she called it. So I hope you're doing fine. She who shall not be named used to
Yeah.
take out the Tower Devil. Ugh, Ten of Swords cards. Because she really, wow,
What?
I didn't
Oh
know
my
that.
gosh. No, that's
That's
I
now that's
love love those cards.
I mean, I understand that you have issues with those cards, but then you can do what I did and buy a positive deck for yourself, because I bought this Affirmators Tarot because all the shit that just happened in since the end of last year, and I was like, I'm not ready for a normal deck. I need something that will just pat me in the head and hug me and tell me things in a gentle way, because that's where I am. I'm not in a way where I can handle punches from a tarot deck that I usually did. So I have beautiful little teeny tiny happy cards like this one. Like the Hanged Man is a hanged frog, and I can't even remember, like the tower. How was the tower? I don't think I will find it, but I have a flip the rope up if someone wants to see it. But you have to know your own limits about how you approach heavier topics. And I realized that I'm not in the space where I can handle that, so I got a deck that some people might say that it's a cutesy and easy deck. It's not a real tarot deck because it's not one to punch you in the face, but sometimes that's all you need, and sometimes you can't handle the darker side of things.
So how many people in chat have decks that you use when you want to be lighter? Like, this is my gentle deck. How many of you have that? Let's just get a
Oh yeah, that's a
counting
good
up.
question. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. Hi,
Because I
Lisa.
know I do. I know that I have my decks that I go to, and I'm just like, look, I just need you. I just need kid gloves right now. I need you to speak to me softly. And it's okay. And I think it's actually very empowering to check in with yourself and know where it is that you need to be and how it is that you need to be spoken to in order to, get the answers. And that's my daughter on there. Hi,
Oh,
Summer.
hi,
My
Summer.
daughter.
I love that name. That's, I mean, I don't know if it's her real name or
Yeah.
channel name, but Summer is a beautiful name. Shadowlands
Oh,
is supposed to be for
interesting.
shadow, but I use it for inner child. I find it cute. Yeah, shadow. I love that. I do. I don't have issues where I need to, work with. Look at guys. I have light. I'm gonna like make it less intense, but
That's good.
because
That's
last time it got too dark, and you could literally see the sun setting in the live stream, which was kind of like, what the hell just happening. So I dig out my ring light, so I have I probably gonna attract all the flying things around. So if I start like doing this, I'm not fighting invisible people, I'm fighting the flies and the mosquitoes. So but yeah, so there's a lot of trauma, unfortunately, connected to childhood for a lot of people. So decks like Shadowland or even these affirmators, tarot, can be a very hard thing to handle for some people. And that's why a lot of people says I don't have the Nicoletta Ceccoli deck, but I've heard that a lot of people use that. Hi, Sylvain. Use that for inner child related things. So and look at that, some French. You can practice your French with at least here.
Ça va?
Yeah, I know, Candy, and don't worry. Thank you so much for even being here. I really hope you're gonna get better soon, because it just sucks. And yeah, I kind of I'm so over it. I'm so over the whole thing.
I think we're all so over it.
Yeah, and they're like,
All
"Oh,
so
it's gonna
over it.
come back." Like, I don't care. No, it's not. I don't care. Deanne said, definitely important to recognize, as the two of you are doing, that some light decks are good for shadow work and vice versa. And I think I can only I only realized that because that was where my shadow lied. So I think people tend to look at things through their own lenses. Obviously it's not a bad thing to do. It's just how you start, and then you realize that, oh, okay, other people said other things. So yeah, a chat is jumping because there's a lot of people here. So
So Alex, I see there's a comment down there by Allison. It's like, I don't know if you can see, it's down towards the bottom there. And you were saying that you don't tend to use your lighter decks as much. And I think that's for me, that's sort of a personality type, because I'm the same way. I'm like, get in there and gut it up. It's a Band-Aid, just rip it off. I'm not one of those like peel the Band-Aid slowly sort of people. I want to get in there and do it. So I think I do use my lighter decks a lot less than my what I call sharpshooters, my straight shooters.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to see everyone and meet. Yes, please, like, subscribe, stay around in chats, because a bunch of lovely people tend to show up in chats. And
so one of the oh, sorry.
No, I was just checking the comments, so please.
So one of the things that I think is also the dark side of tarot, or a dark side, is that we can get to where we look at certain cards a certain way. We get locked into certain cards meaning a certain thing.
Oh
So
yeah.
the idea that the Tower is negative, or I have a better one here that I put out. Okay, so like here's a typical one. This is the one that I disagree with a lot of people on the meaning of, which is the Seven of Swords. And
Ah,
a lot of people talk about this as meaning like deception or thievery. And I do. I think it can mean those things, especially deceiving yourself.
yeah.
um, but, you know, this is Tarot of the Holy Light. I don't know if you can see it there. Okay, there. This is Tarot of the Holy
Ooh.
Light. And you can see on there, like at the bottom, there's this fox. And
Fox.
he's taking this, he's got a hen in
Oh
his
yeah, and
mouth.
the
And then
roosters.
the rooster's like, give the hen back, you know? Um, and you can see this card's linked to Gemini here.
Mm.
And so, you know, the idea that this card could mean something else like opportunity. Like, do you blame the fox for eating the hen?
Hmm. That's
You
an
know,
interesting way to
if
look
the
at.
swords are just laying there, do you, I mean, uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's not great to be a thief, but a thief is a thief. So the idea that we can get locked into cards meaning, you know, one particular thing, like the ten of Pentacles, you
Yes,
know,
like the fox in Lenormand. Yeah.
yeah. So, you know, even the Ten of Pentacles, everybody's like, "Oh, this is like the super great card," but it's also a card of
Mm.
ambiguity and the ending of something. And so for me, I just think there's a dark side in getting so set that a card means something that no matter what deck you're at, you flip it over and you have a preconceived idea of what that means instead of, you know, allowing yourself to open up to the possibility that it's speaking something new or different. And I think that can be dark because we can become so
Oh, that's an
railroaded into
I'm
thinking this
trying to
one makes
find the Seven of Swords.
yeah.
That's why I'm like,
It's going
because
to be
I'm
the last
curious
card.
now in the flip
It's going to
deck,
be
you
the
know.
last card in there. It's always who does that?
Yeah, I
You're
bet.
searching for a card, it's the last card in the deck or third to last card.
Also, I don't read reversals, but for some reason I managed to learn how to shuffle the deck, even though I don't want to. So it has reversals. So I'm like, how do I, achieve that? I had such a problem in the beginning when I was still reading reversals to shuffle it in a way that it has reversals. And now I'm like, I don't want to do that and still shuffle it that way. So, but yeah, with the Seven of Swords, I'm kind of, yeah, I do read that as other people's fuckery, because I read the Five of Swords as my own fuckery.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I read the Five of Swords as a selfish card, but sometimes you have to be selfish, because sometimes the circumstances are you need to take care of your own needs first, even if that means that you're gonna just concentrate on yourself. Because if you're not taking care of your own self first, like in the airplanes, you need to put the oxygen mask on yourself first, and then you can help other people. Because if you are not, it's the Seven of Swords.
There we go.
If
And
you
what
And it kind of looks like
look at
uh,
it's a little weasel. It's a little
yeah.
stoat, yeah.
But I really like what you said, that a thief is a thief. Like, what do you expect if you run into a thief? They're gonna steal something. So will you blame someone for their nature? Or yeah, like, don't expect a customer or a player to be the love of your life when all they know is how to play with other people or something like that, which is kind of interesting. I never, so thank you so much. I already learned something.
Yeah, I mean, I sometimes when this comes up, I just feel like there's an opportunity that will arise suddenly out of the
Mm,
blue for you. And, you know, as long as you check in with yourself and make sure that it's in
yes.
alignment with your truth, it's
And
okay to
silver.
take that opportunity. You know, it's not thievery. You know, and of course that's very Gemini. Gemini has the ability to um, really see an opportunity and pull themselves away from all the other pieces and decide what's right for them. That's a very Gemini quality.
Yeah, I find Gemini people interesting. I don't really know a lot, and there's a lot of negative stuff, that people say about Geminis, which I kind of find it interesting, because like, the two-faced aspect and stuff like that. But sometimes you have to look out for yourself. So
But you know, in the same way the original Sun card has two
Oh,
children in it.
really?
The original Sun card had two, not one.
Oh,
And so it represents
oh,
like
the two aspect.
the
Ah,
divine twin in balance, right? Because the sun is about like
yeah,
everything's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So when we recognize our, you know, both sides of ourselves. And there were some cool comments in here about the Seven of Swords that I thought were really interesting. We should read some of those.
This one, Seven of Swords
Sure.
can be diplomatic skills, necessary secrets. I read the High Priestess like that. So for me, I usually tend to go on the negative side of, but that's because I associate the swords suit with more of that energy in any way. So, but it's always so interesting to. That's why I love when people talk about their experiences with a deck, because they talk about how they read cards, and that can be something very can learn from. And that's a light aspect of tarot, not the dark. The
Right.
dark aspect of tarot, when someone just posts flip throughs and they don't never ever talk about their experience. So sometimes I feel like people don't share their negative opinion about the deck because they think that they're not supposed to. And I don't mean that they should bash the creator and say that this deck sucks. No, just tell me why you can't work with it, and then I can take something away from that.
I do struggle with that when I go through decks, and that's why I kind of
Car
yeah.
alarm. Yeah,
That's
someone is stealing a car. See?
and that's why I have started not posting just flip throughs, but posting more about my experience with them, so I can talk about the pros and cons from my experience.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, chat is just jumping every time when I try to, like highlight something. Oh, okay, we have a Gemini in real sky. What does it mean, real sky? I have
oh,
two sides.
you know what, Maria, I have tried to get my real sky,
I don't know. I never
um,
even heard about that. I
and
don't know what.
I cannot
I
figure out
don't
how to
know.
go to that site and get it. So
Of
maybe
course, you're
before
not late.
chat. It's a really cool. It's really really neat. I would
Yeah.
like to see what I am in real sky if I'm a Pisces. I might be a
I mean,
Pisces instead of
I
an Aries.
never even heard about real sky. I mean, I know that there are different kind of astrology, but I just know the basic Western one. So,
Well,
uh,
and Summer writes on here,
like some swords. Yeah.
someone's stealing swords, and she wrote up here. I don't know if you can see it. She was saying,
I guess the other thing is that despite our biases, a whole tarot that covers the range of what we need to know. Yes, where we each found our message isn't important as long as we consider. Yes, agreed. If you go into reading knowing how you interpret cards at the moment, at least currently, then you're gonna get the message. Yes.
but I love it when I get those readings where the cards go out on the table and I feel stumped by the combinations of cards. Like, how
I
did
love that.
these, how is that, makes me want to study. That makes me want to break out my books and look at this from a different angle, leave the reading out, come back a couple days later to really, to really see it and get a fresh perspective on it. But I wanted to share a couple of cards here that I really loved.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Oh my gosh,
I
where did
mean,
it go?
Maria is, giving some explanation for the real sky. Now I will have to check this,
You
because
have
I
to
don't
check it
know in
out.
these things.
Oh God,
But
I have
yeah,
made
so
such a mess. Oh, so, like even this rendition of the world
wait,
here,
I'll
and
make you big.
this is the dark. I'm trying to get, can we see it, everybody? I hope so. Can we
This
get the
dark
glare up?
grimoire.
It's the dark grimoire.
Oh, I
I,
wanted that.
I love this because, we think of the world as like, oh, there she is in the cosmos, just floating, just so happy.
I
Um,
don't think about it like that.
but I mean, that's kind of the rendition of her here, is, and
Mm.
actually it should be later on, they're a little bit more androgynous, which I like. But
I mean, her boobs are confusing to me, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
But you know, in this one, I love it because there's a sense of coming to terms with yourself, coming to terms with your personal demons, coming to terms with, um, to me, established systems and
oh,
even religions, like
hmm,
having all of that within you and being able to flow within that. So, you know, some people might think, oh, what a dark card, but I think, wow, what a fabulous and empowering rendition of this. Like, I feel empowered to move towards, you know, embodying uh, dualities, to
hmm,
embody those aspects of myself and to be more comfortable with things that we view as dark. And again, that's dualistic in itself, like light and dark, getting ourselves into, I mean, even the word dark is kind of judgmental against decks, but you know, I like that. I like the challenge of a darker deck, as I said.
yeah. And sometimes I think people label decks as dark because just because of the colors. They don't look at what the images are actually saying.
Mm-hmm.
And a light deck is just like if there's a lot of white in it, but like we talked about it, a very light color schemed deck can be very punchy in the facey. you know and just about the word, how I learned what the word card means is not just floating in the air and be like, oh, I'm half naked, who cares. But what stuck with me as a meaning is not just finding your own place, but finally learning how the word actually works, seeing how other people are in it, seeing why people are do what they do. And those are hard realizations. Those
Mm-hmm.
are not, when you grow up and then you realize that, people do shitty things. Sometimes I do shitty things because so and so. Finding that place is not, it's not a happy 10 of cups. We found each other and there's just sunshine and rainbows place. It's like what you said, learning those hard lessons and finally being able to apply them. So yeah, it's I always feel that the word card is a very complete card. And it's for me, at least in readings, it's coming up more like this is where you need to go, not in you reach this place, because usually people are not there, which is
Yeah.
you know
Well, even in that, you know, it's also endings are new beginnings, you know. So I'm
yeah,
always I see this as like whoop, completion of a cycle, and now you're ready
starting
to
out
begin.
again on a higher level.
Yep. So
Yep.
it's not, and I think that's the thing about the tarot. If you think that you've arrived, then you're going to stop learning.
Oh
Um,
yeah. I
you
mean,
know,
that's what I love. One of the things that I love about tarot is that I know that I will never stop learning. So that excites me. Yes, it's Hannah. And thanks all that sisters Hannah. Okay, so yeah, and I kind of wanted to show this deck because it's been a while that I kind of pulled out my smoke ash and embers deck.
mhm.
But I wanted to show that, for a lot of people, when look at cards like this, that, oh, it's a cute dragon, and there's a bee, and there's just, but it can be so powerful. So, sometimes we think that cute decks are, not powerful. And I know a lot of people said that it's not for them because the dragons are too cute. But
You
if
should
you
make
look,
yourself bigger.
yeah, I don't know how much that will help, but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean the layout. But as you can see, it's just a 9 of swords, and you can see the dragon, hopefully,
Hmm.
uh, in the dark forest, all the swords up to its head. And it's not an easy place to be. And just because there's a cute dragon, which I refuse to say that they are cute. Because for me they are tiny but powerful. That's how I feel about them dragons. Look at that. And I just, and it's so, what I meant to say is just that it can be so personal, how you look at a deck. And that's why I love people talking about their experience, because if they explain that hey, this and this deck, it just feels so good in my hand. I just love this deck so much. Honestly, it's one of those decks when I take it out, I just can't stop handling it. So I become that pervert who's like, honestly,
Well,
you
there's
don't want to see my
that's a
face.
little dark in itself.
I know, right? And that can be a dark aspect when you get too attached to the idea of a deck, or
Mhm.
an idea of being a tarot reader, or doing readings, and you think that you're some uh, how to say this diplomatically, like you're some ascended being now
Yeah.
because you're doing tarot readings. And I'm not saying there's a tons of people who have great knowledge, much more than I do, but it doesn't mean that you're suddenly worth more than the people who are asking for a reading. But you can see the ego
Hmm.
coming forward, and that's, I think, definitely a negative or dark side, when your ego is taking over and you think that you're some, I don't even know, like new age prophet or whatever, because you're reading tarot. I'm not saying it happens often, but sometimes it happens. Okay, so if anyone has, oh no, for example, Western says tonight is Newman Cancer, which I never know. But when you look at the astronomical apps Stellarium, for example, you see it's actually Gemini. Oh, and I guess like you decide to stick with a system, I guess, and use that, or
What is this? Wyman's Rock and Writing. What is that? Oh, go ahead.
yeah, Sarah. Sometimes we do not realize that we are in a state of the world. Yes.
Hmm.
This one.
Yes.
My Labyrinth Tarot is cute, but it packs a punch, makes me cry, and goes the whole spectrum. Yeah. See, and it's such a personal thing where something. Yes, I mean, okay, I can't highlight the comment for some reason under this one.
Huh.
Okay. Oh, she's happy with her dragons! Surprise!
Yes.
I mean, if if anybody is subscribed to my channel for like 5 minutes, they will know that I'm all about them dragons. So yeah. I see ascension as a process, not the process that will never be finished. That's what you get if you try to read the comment in two places at once. Yes, tarot supports us in embracing our life as a journey of learning. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, I do think that, and that's, I mean, I watch quite a few readers who post pick a card readings, and that can be, a segue. And all of the people that I watch, they never act like they are more than the people who are watching, even though they have 200,000 subscribers and big numbers like that. But they still just act like normal human beings who are actually doing readings. And one of the dark side can be two things: people watching too much general readings and taking them too seriously, thinking that everything that's been said in a general pick a card reading is going to be true for them, because that's obviously not true. But the other side is, I think, where there is some danger when inexperienced readers not say that they don't have that much experience, because
Hmm.
it's completely fine, if they just started reading for a week, but they want to do it because they are excited, they want to they love it. I think it's amazing, but you have to say that, hey, I'm just learning still. So there should be some error or room for error when you start, and it shouldn't be something that you're afraid to tell people that, hey, I only read for 3 years, like me. Like, I know that I'm giving my best to you when I'm doing a reading, but that's one of the reasons why I do free readings, because I'm not saying that my reading's not worth money, but I kind of feel like I don't want to go down that road, and that's a personal choice. But I also think that you should say how much experience you actually have with reading cards, because the more you have, obviously you're better. or not. You can disagree with me. Hi, Ruby.
So, it's interesting because talking I thought maybe we'd jump in here about ethics a little bit on tarot, because I think this is an interesting one. And some of you are really going to disagree with me on this one, but I don't believe in reading the tarot for yes or no readings. And my reason is, hear me out, people, before you stone me.
Don't worry.
My reason is that I feel like when it comes to yes or no things, that you need to own your decisions. You need to be very conscious about that and own your power. And sitting down and becoming so dependent on the tarot, like I would definitely never do it for anyone else. I would never have a yes or no question that I answer for them ever. But even for myself, those are decisions that I need to sit down with and I need to really own and be a part of. And I think there comes a point where we can become a little too dependent on the tarot, especially if you're read hopping on
Yeah,
YouTube. You'll eventually find what you want to hear. And if
yeah.
that's really what you're doing, then just own your freaking power and make that choice. Don't look for the reading that supports the choice
True.
you want to make. Instead, make the choice and own it so that you know it's yours and you can step into that and really own it. So, it's interesting because I don't believe in read hopping, and I just don't believe in yes or no. And I think that you can become too dependent or put too much stock into a card reading. That can become something that can happen. I see people are like, I've got my tarot deck with me everywhere I go, and
Yeah, I mean,
I'm drawing a card for everything.
yeah, I only do. I mean, I tried the daily reads, but there was a lot of times when I pulled the card and that was nothing happening that day that would connect to that, and so I use tarot for bigger questions, but I do yes or no questions, but never like just is it gonna be yes or no. I always do option A, option B, and
Mhm.
most of the
Yeah.
time both are good things. For example, and then is I'm not gonna make the choice for you. I can give you
Yeah.
some ideas what's gonna happen either way, but the choice is still yours. And I can be that annoying friend who will be like, I can ask the cards, but you're still gonna be the one making the decision. And it's funny because a lot of the times when someone comes to me with a question like that, I get cards like the High Priestess.
Mhm.
And then I'm like, I'm sorry, but the cards are like, trust your own intuition.
Yep.
You know what you want to do. Or Two of Swords, and then like, you need to make that decision. I'm not going to make it for you. But in that sense, I do yes and no questions, but I always do what's the
Yeah.
possibility for happening thing, because
But I
I
will make a client rephrase it. I will say,
yeah,
I need you to
or I
rephrase
rephrase it
that
for them.
to, hey, what are my possibilities going this way or that way. And of
Yeah.
course, I believe that it's much more of a snapshot. So when we draw the cards, it's where we are at that moment. And if we proceed from who we are in this moment, which is ever changing, in that trajectory, these are the possibilities that will occur for us.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And
it
I,
looks like,
I,
yeah,
I can never stop with the yes or no, because the card says on the table will tell me more. So
yeah.
I mean, I do one card readings, not a lot these days because I'm just not in the emotional state for doing a lot of readings. But sometimes, people still find me, and I do one card readings on because I want to do quick things on Instagram. And I'm not gonna bullshit people. I try to be kind because I do think that the two can, go hand in hand. I don't need to be like, huh, you're an idiot. I can tell them that the cards think that you need to reassess or, rethink, and you already know the answer and stuff like that. But
Well, your solstice reading, I thought you did a great job with your solstice reading, and you
oh,
pulled
thank you.
cards that we would consider very negative. And
I
you
have reading amnesia. I can't remember what I did, so
it,
I do the
I
readings and I
think it was
forget.
like the 10 of swords and something else on there, which is kind of an interesting thing to get for a sunny solstice day. Looks like we have
Yeah,
lots of people. You want to check out the comments here? We have lots of people kind of weighing in on this yes or no.
yeah. Lisa doesn't do either. And I saw Ruby, I think, saying not no as well. Yeah, exactly. Tarot is way too deep and layered than a simple yes or no answer. Because if you just say yes or no, you leave so much out that I think as a reader, I can't do that. I have to tell you. Especially if there are multiple cards on the table, the combination is going to tell you something profound, uh, which can be something I don't enjoy the feeling when I don't understand what the cards are saying because the message is not for me, but for the other person.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of enjoy the fact that when they go like, okay, that makes some complete sense, and I'm sitting
Mm-hmm.
there, I don't know how this makes sense to the question you asked, but you probably were thinking about something else that the cards answered. So yeah, Maria said, I don't even know how to read cards in a yes or no way. I see a light and shadow side in every card. I mean, if you want to, but I don't think we want to. You can just decide that if it's a wands and a swords, it's a no. If it's a pentacles and the cups, it's a yes. Or
Right.
some people have their system.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you get? I mean, you can get a no as a tower. I would say that the tower would be a no. But the devil, for example, that's the prince of illusion.
Yeah,
Is it
you
a
never
yes? Is it
know.
a
Yeah.
no?
Yeah.
You don't know. You just don't know, and you probably what you're seeing is not exactly what's happening. So, oh, I love that. I love tarot. Yeah, I do. Yeah, possibilities of yes and the possibilities of no. I don't think there's a straight the answer to anything because as soon as you ask the question and you start thinking about it, things shift in your head.
Well,
So,
and tarot is about self-reflection.
yeah,
So it's going to be a journey through your thoughts, and it's so interesting because you can sit down and read when you're really angry, and boy, the cards really reflect that.
yeah, there's not. I mean, I understand that some people need, a tool because they are not there in their journey to face those decisions. That's why I'm no longer really hung up on, oh, I'm not going to do a third party reading for you. I'm not telling you I'm not doing it. If you're asking me for what does so and so think about me, I'm going to pull a card and tell you what the cards want to tell you. It's probably not going to be anything related to that. You can take that and use it. A bunch of people were happy about the readings, but some people never get back to me, meaning that they probably went to another reader because they wanted to hear that the other person is in love with them. And I'm like, go and ask them out and you will know if they like you. So it's not an easy thing, but it's easier to find out if you ask the other person if they like you or not. Then
The straight
yeah,
route? Oh my goodness, not playing games?
I know. I don't know how to. I mean, I hate people playing it. I never did because I think it's already so stressful to be trying to be communicative about something that you're excited or you're passionate about. There's a lot of errors already. So if I put in some other layer of bullshit, then we're not gonna be talking about the same thing ever. So yeah. I never got into daily draw. I mean, I tried. I didn't want to know how my day could go and turn it into self-fulfilling prophecy. I didn't do it in that way. I pulled a card and then went back to it at the end of the day to
Mhm.
see how or what it was relating to. So it was more about a reflection connecting to the day. But sometimes, I pulled a Six of Swords and no, not Six of Swords, Six of Wands, because that's just stuck with me. And there was no victory, no, nothing that to be, happy about. So I was like, hi, Kristen Louise. So, I kind of stopped with that. I wanted to do that with Lenormand, but I never got I don't know, I never connected with the system when I tried.
So I have another card here I wanted to show. Sorry.
Oh, and just not yes or no, but maybe a tendency to one of them. Yeah, usually we know if yes or no. It's just we don't trust ourselves.
Mhm.
Sometimes I have no idea, honestly.
So, this is the Somnia Tarot. Anybody out here have
Oh,
this one?
I don't have it, but I know it.
And this is the Tower. Uh, and so it's really interesting, the Tower coming down on ourselves. And one of the things I find about this deck is that it is very shadowy. It is really about, and here I'll show you this one here. Here's the Emperor. Trying
Oh
to
yeah,
get the glare off
that's an
here.
interesting one.
you know, where, you know, it kind of, to me, this deck points you to, honestly, the weightiness of the cards. I know this one really illustrates that, where when you're the emperor, you've got that anvil, it's all waiting to fall down if you're the one who's always in control. But I mean, this deck is such a hard hitter. I mean, it's really,
Is he holding the rope that keeps the anvil at place? Did I
yeah,
see that correctly?
yep, don't let go.
Ah.
Don't
So if
let
you lose
go.
control, you're falling apart pretty much. Oh,
You
this
know,
is me in a card. Ah, okay.
I think just understanding that when we take on the role of the emperor, when we take on the one that wants to make all the structures and call all the shots, that we also have to bear the weight of that when it doesn't go right. And so, you
And
know,
we can make ourselves fall. Actually, we
I
can
mean,
be our own demise.
you know, and this is, so this is a very different feel. Let's see if I can get them both in there without a glare. You know, a very different feel of a
Yeah.
card here. And I love that. I love that we can go to different creators in order to learn about the cards in a very different way, in order to grow out of our own suppositions or ideas of what the tarot can and can't be.
Yeah. I really think amnesia is a thing. I know a lot of people who was the same. At first, I was, confused by it. I was like, this is weird. But then I saw other people mentioning the same, and I was like, who? Okay. So it's not just me. And I just wanted to say that I don't do daily draws these days, but I did it in January, which was really hard. And I used an oracle deck in a kind of give me something to work with today energy. And I think oracles are, for me at least, much better suited for daily prompt, because I can pull into a more let's think about things energy than in a more matter of factly how the tarot would be. So if someone wants to try that, they can try that with oracle decks.
Have you seen that meme, and it's got oracle decks versus
Yeah,
tarot, and it's like
but it's not true.
Whoopi Goldberg saying like, "Girl, you in trouble." You know, the tarot tends to be a little bit more serious, I think, than
Yeah,
oracle decks.
but
And again, a little more open-ended.
yeah, but I mean, I think about a lot about the toxic positivity subject. It kind of stuck with me, and I haven't done really. I mean, I did a video about connecting to the deck, but I didn't, specifically made one about it. I don't think I will. But I was just thinking that when I asked for a replacement card, because I managed to bend my Light Seers Knight of Cups in half. I don't know. I'm so careful with everything. So when I noticed that I accidentally, put it in the box in such a way that the lid just bent it half. So it was used on. I couldn't use it anymore because it was obvious which card was the Knight of Cups, and I was like, poor lover boy. I snapped it in half. But I managed to get a replacement card through a friend in the UK, because unfortunately, if you don't live in a place that they sell decks, house, then they're not gonna send you a replacement card. But I was lucky, so I got one, and I was sent with it an affirmation, daily calendar that they did. And I just wanted to say that that's supposed to be like all happy and positive, and you get an affirmation for a day, but some of those sentences can call you out, because one of the other day, one was about I nourish my body and all I do is healthy things or stuff like that, and I was like, yeah, my diet is really bad these days, I don't exercise, so like stop reminding me how much I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. So I think anything can have that dark side that will call you out if you let it, if you pay attention. That but that our cards maybe saying we can start the fire. Yeah. Now I'm gonna sing that. It's such a. I mean, I looked at the Insomnia Tarot, but I kind of didn't want to get it because I'm not really into real photography. and stuff. And there were just those weird images where the people have a sheet, and I was just like, what? And not in a, oh, it's too dark, I can't handle, in a more of the, what is it even about for me? So yeah, but the two cards that you showed were really, really
You know,
great.
I
So
think that it's it is
hi, Ange.
it is a really interesting deck that I got it because it's very artsy, and I really
Yeah,
appreciate the story behind it and what he, yeah, it's like, you know, you've got, you know, like you said,
very big.
they, you know, they're all like hooded.
Yeah, it's kind of
Just
like
there's what's it's very Waldorf in that way, like no faces in any of the cards. I was trying to get out some of the more creepy ones, like you were. Oh, here's one right here. Look at this one. This one's,
some version of the knights. I think it's in
but like,
the
you
white sheet.
know,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
for me, it's weird, but it doesn't give me anything. So I'm not, like how when you look at a deck and you immediately get off something of it, and I don't know, I just look at it and all I think about it, it's weird.
yeah. I love I
Go on.
I like this deck because it has me reach, just like reach and reach
Mm.
and reach. And in some ways, again, it gets my mind away from what I think the tarot cards mean. Kind of like when I use soul cards, you know, which are
It's
an
funny that you
oracle.
mentioned it because I wanted to just say that it's just like with soul cards. A lot of people love those, and I'm like, I'm
You
not
don't like
getting
them.
anything out of it, so I don't want those decks because I look at the images and I'm like, I see a figure, but there's nothing, I always enjoy hearing about, people's experiences with decks because I think it's really fascinating how some artwork like the Deviant Moon, for me it's a fun, it can be a little, it can be mean. I'm not gonna say that it's not mean, but it's not a scary deck. For a lot of people, it's a deck that scares them because they look at the creatures and they're like, "Ooh, look at that star as like weird as head," and I'm just like, they are so. I'm not gonna say cute because I don't look at them and see them cute, but just
The cute
I don't
might be
know.
taking it a little far.
Yeah, I mean, some people think that this is a cute deck, but I don't know. I don't have a right word for it, but I just love the imagery.
But
So yeah.
again, I think that it really takes your mind away from all the ideas that you have about tarot. Like this card, the Nine of Wands here, you know,
Oh, that's a deck that
usually,
I definitely want because it just looks so interesting.
yeah, I mean, here you can see, like, normally
You
in the
want a
Nine of
baby?
Wands, um, yeah, normally in the Nine of Wands, you see like a person, they're like totally beat up, you
Yeah.
know, in the Rider Waite, they're like beat up and it's their last stand. But this card goes in a completely different direction. Like she does not look like she's struggling.
No, she
You
looks
know,
like she's gonna burn everyone.
yeah, she's going to kick ass. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, she's like, and so and I find that this deck is like this. It's kind of topsy turvy in its presentation,
I
and
mean,
so
it
again,
has.
it pushes me to go a different direction, just like Deviant Moon, just like uh, here's his
Oh my God.
animated pips. So
Oh yeah. And the Dark Grimoire has that Hanged Man card that when I saw that Hanged Man, I was like, okay, that's why I need that deck at some point because that's such a powerful, very triggering uh, Hanged Man. If you don't know, chat, look it up. I'm not going to mention things because, but you can maybe possibly find the connection between what we're trying to say without saying it because YouTube doesn't like to say, those things.
yeah.
But I find the honesty in that card, you know, something that, sometimes you just need a card that will not just give you a different idea, but sometimes a very hard reality that this could be a possible option, where you're not able to continue on, and that's part of life. And I think that topic of unaliving yourself, I think that's the way you can say it without you to being mad, is something that, I mean, I don't think that any of the cards have it directly. If I just think about a regular tarot, because we have the Death and the Ten of Swords and stuff like that, but none of those cards is something that I would associate with making that decision. So, you know, having a deck that goes that dark, because it's a very, very dark image, is sometimes, you know, it's needed. Sometimes it can be very triggering. So it's a very, you need to be very self-aware to know if you can use a deck like that or not. But maybe
How
sometimes,
many of you out there in chat like extreme decks like that? Like to go for something like the Dark Grimoire? Is that something that you can get into,
you know,
or no?
or the Somnia, you know, that
Or the
really
Somnia, or
goes into different. I mean, I'm thinking about what do I have. Oh boy, what do I have? Like, I have different, but I don't know if it's dark. You know, the Dungeons and Dragons deck, I'm annoyed with it because they don't display which minor suit is on the
Yeah.
cards. But that's my only problem. I dotted them, so now I know. But I really liked what they did with the minor suits, how they changed certain cards. But that's one of those decks when I'm annoyed and I want to just get hold of the writer and the editor, and I'm tell them that you need to give me a second edition where you explain the changes better and you make it more obvious on the cards. And you know, it's a great deck, but you're doing a disservice because you're just giving me one sentence, even though the meanings are different, the illustration is different. I could get so much away from it, but you're not explaining it to me. So
I really don't like that when a deck has a lot of symbolism in it and then they
and
just
they
say
don't
nothing
explain.
about it. And you're like, why did you, I don't even know what that symbol means. Now I got to go on the web and try to figure out. And then is that what you meant by that? Maybe, I don't
Exactly, like
know.
maybe not. And as you know, sometimes the star is just a star, but
Yeah.
tell me what you put in the card that has a meaning. And then I know that the fox has a meaning, the rabbit has a meaning, and the star doesn't have a meaning. And I can assign, you know, meanings to the rest of it. And I can disregard your meaning, to be honest, if it doesn't fit with how I discover the cards work. But when I'm left with, oh, this is such an interesting two of wands, for example, in the D&D, which I don't have it right now, there's a gladiator, I think, sort of type of a warrior standing over someone that they defeated, I think, in an arena. And that's the two of wands. And I'm like, I want to know why. That's such an interesting idea, but I don't see why. So I contacted the illustrator, but they stopped replying to me. So I probably, you know, after my first comment, so maybe I was annoying, but they pretty much told me that the writer, you know, so I'm trying to find a way to connect to contact the writer, because I'm like, I want to know more. I want to love this deck, and I already feel so excited about it. You know, I started making notes and whatever, but I want to know more. So that can be big. That can be a dark side that you go. I mean, you as a reader, you kind of concentrate on the cards and the meanings too much, and you don't, you know, just use it. You know, because
Yeah.
it's
Allow
more.
the pictures to speak. I think
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
something really beautiful about just letting the person's art to speak to you before you jump in with what you already know about what that card means.
Oh yeah, I forgot. But the haunted house has the Ace of Swords, where the sword rests on the wrist, making it look a certain way, but it isn't. At first, I thought that it was, you know, like this position, and because there's some blood, and it looks like you're cutting. But then, if you look at the card more, then you can see that it's not. It's, you know, just your probably own perception that, oh, this is that choice, but in fact, it's not. So that's kind of an interesting thing. Oh, the teenagers, local teenagers. I love them. They
So
never listen to
yeah.
music that I like.
So
What the
that's
hell is this?
interesting.
Yeah, but haven't seen. Oh, haven't. Oh, you have to. I mean, I think you
The
would
Dark
like it.
Grimoire is a really unique deck.
I think Candy bought it. I think Candy bought it as part of her, I think, dark, you know, shadowy decks. And this reminds me, I have another deck that I want at some point, the Tarot of Sweet Twilight. I don't know if you know that one.
Mm-mm.
That's a kind of weird, strange. I wouldn't say creepy, but it has a kind of strange and weird artwork, and which I think kind of fits into. It's dark, but it's not. If you don't want it to be. Oh, we had that. Okay. Hi, Kigram. Sorry, I didn't see you coming in. I don't think extreme decks are for me. I was so excited for Somnia, but once it was in my hands, it fell flat. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, that's such a bummer.
I was looking into the Fountain Tarot because, a lot of people love that. And a friend of mine has it, and I was able to look at it in person. I was like, nope, I feel no connection to the deck, which was like, good.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I saw the Weaver's Tarot, the Journeyer edition, and I was like, yes, still want it. Damn, I still want this indie deck, which I wish I didn't want it, but but yeah. Totally get the Deviant Moon Big Book completely changed how I feel about the deck for the better. It's interesting. Some people said that it ruined the deck for them, so I kind of decided not to get the book because I don't want to risk getting that deck ruined. Do you still have time? Because we're over an hour.
I've got a couple minutes. I don't know where you're at.
Okay. I just want to check the comments. And do you have anything else? I think I've said any. The really dark side, obviously, which we didn't talk about, is fake readers and scammers.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not even something that we can. I don't think we have found a way to how to avoid or be better about letting other people who are fakes, except if you see a post on Instagram, like report them if it's fake.
Right.
But pretty much that's all from me. I'm trying to just check the comments. Yes, love following the art. Different depictions can be so spot on. I love it. Yes, that's really why I have so many decks. Yeah, I love being drawn to something on my shelf and getting those perfect readings. Absolutely. Oh yeah, Candy has that. Oh, Soul Deck. Okay, cool. So check out Candy's channel, and you can. I think you posted a walkthrough or a review or something like that. Dark and dreamy. That's a good description. Sweet Violet is kind of trippy, creepy, but still colorful. Yes, it has interesting colors, and that's a very interesting deck. And I don't see a lot of people talking about that deck. I mean, using it in readings, which is kind of a shame. Okay, so anybody has anything to add in chat, or you, April? I don't know.
No, I mean, I guess my one thing that I always say, no matter what, is the most important thing is that you actually read the cards.
Yes.
That you pull your cards out and that you read them in whatever way works for you in the moment, so that you can get out of it what you need. But if you don't pick up that deck, you're not going to grow in your practice that way. So, and experiment. I always say experiment. Read outside, do different things, try all sorts of things with your decks. Don't be afraid to do it unconventionally. So
yeah, and don't be afraid to learn and unlearn things, because just because you were taught a certain system doesn't mean that you can't alter it to how you see decks or cards. Just like with the 5 of Swords and the 7 of Swords we said earlier. So I think that's good advice. Okay, so I'm gonna finish then. And this was such a lovely chat. I think there was a lot of topics that we went through quite quickly, but I think we kind of did a good job with what we had.
But so come see us all, everybody, on Saturday on
Maria's channel, on the 2nd of on the 2nd of July.
come see us on there. We're going to be talking about the 5s.
Yeah,
which is a set of cards I really love. So I'm really excited to talk about the 5s.
Yeah, same. I mean, I forgot, because the 5 it's kind of stuck with me, the wrong date, but See, nothing happens for, by accident. So I was reminded in time. So I will be in that, live stream, and I will be sharing that on my community tab. So please like, subscribe, comment down below. All those help my channel, April's channel, everybody's channel, because, YouTube will get the idea that we are interesting people that, it's good following. So thank you so much for being here. And yeah, see you in the next one. Bye, guys.